Okay, we're going to be studying percents now. And it is definitely one of the most useful math skills that you're going to be using in your life. You're going to be using it after school in your actual... All right. Okay, we're going to be studying percents now. And percents is a very useful math skill. You'll be using it a lot in your life in school and your life outside of school. So 0.07 of all the people in the world have type O negative blood type. So 0.07. Let's look at our place values. You learned this a couple years back, I think. That's your ones place. This is your tens place. And this is your hundreds place. So 7 over 100. That's converting it to a fraction. Well, all a percent is a fraction over 100, so that's 7%. It's easier just to say 7% versus 7 over 100. But we can use this is a ratio here. For every 100 people, 7 of them have a type O negative blood type. That's not very many, so it's important that hospitals and blood donors know that statistic. So here's a question. And let me just back up and teach you how to find a percent of something. What you do is you want to do percent over 100 is equal to part over whole, or percent over 100 is equal to is over of. You can use any way you want, whichever one makes the most sense to you. 7% of people have a blood type O negative. It's a negative sign. Okay, so 7%. We're given the percent. So let's go ahead and start solving this. 7 over 100. We know what the percent is, so we're not going to put our variable there. How many people are O negative out of the 250 people in the Brent International School Middle School? Okay, around 250. I'm not sure exactly how many there are. But is that our part or our whole? Well, that is our whole. We're trying to find out what 7% of it is. So we're trying to find the parts, what the smaller portions that 77% is. Or you could look at it this way. 7 is what percent of 250? Of 250 would go here for your of. What percent is, 7% is how many of 250. So is how many, that's where your variable is going to go. It's going to go there. However you like to set it up. Now you know what to do here. We've looked at it several times. You just cross multiply and solve. We have 100x is equal to 1,750 people. And when we divide by 100, we wind up getting, it's 17.5. So 17.5 out of 200. Ordinarily, when you're talking about a group of people, you want to round to the nearest one because you're not going to have half a person, well, hopefully. So I'm going to make the is equal to approximately 18. 18 out of 250 is 7% with O negative blood. Let's look at this one, and I think a student thought my handwriting on this was really bad, so she wrote this for me. Let me center it. Polydactyly, that's not a condition, but that's a gene that causes people to have 6 fingers, and it's true. This is a true statistic. Polydactyly occurs in 1 out of every 3,000 births. What percent of the population has polydactyly? So let's look at this. So remember, we want percent over 100 is equal to part over whole. Now we're looking for the percent, so that's where we're going to put our variable. Because it says, what percent? Well, that's what we're looking for, so we're going to put the variable for percent. Now, 1 is our part, 3,000 is our whole. We're going to cross-multiply and solve. And if you're curious, you can just Google polydactyly and see what a hand with polydactyly looks like. And what's interesting, I think, is polydactyly is actually a dominant gene. So that means in about 2, 3, 4 generations, there are going to be many more people with polydactyly than there are now, and maybe look at 10 generations, the majority might have polydactyly. Anyway, we can cancel out these zeros. I think I showed you how to do that. We wind up with 0.03%, and I'm going to put the line above that. Here's our final example, and I've shown you every combination of a percent problem, all 3 combinations. But remember, percent over 100 is equal to is over of. I'm going to use this one this time. rather than part of our whole. 80% of, okay, 80%, so we were just given the percent, and I'm just going to go ahead and write it in now. So 80 over 100 of what number? Now look, we don't know of what number. We're trying to find the of now. Of what number? Is, we're given the is, so let's put the 16 in place of the is. Now we're going to cross multiply. 80x is equal to 1,600. We're going to divide 80 on both sides. Remember the trick with the zeros. We've got 160 over 8, and we wind up with 20. 20 is a solution there.